What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the best voice in the business, Parris Lilly.
Hi, Greg.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you. I'm sorry I had to do Games Daily with Tim.
I know.
I'm sorry I had to interrupt so many times. I'm sorry that as soon as I put on my amazing Xbox sweatshirt, Ben came up and gave me a peanut butter kiss. You know, he's eating the peanut butter toast as a little kid, and this globs onto you, and there it is, right there. What are you going to do about it, you know? You remember those days.
Oh, I remember them very well.
You miss them.
I don't.
Has it only gotten better? Has fatherhood only gotten better?
You know what? I do. I really, those are the best times. Seeing you with Ben, even yesterday, it's great. I miss it. I really do.
Yeah, you were very nice to play Mario Kart with Ben at home last night before dinner. He was very appreciative of that. Thank you, Uncle Parris. That was nice.
Yes, always fun.
How was your visit to the Bay, Ben?
It's been great. First time I've ever driven across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Wow, look at that.
So that was very touristy
all the
for
sights
me.
and sounds.
Yes. No, it's been fun. It's been good. It's been good to see everybody. I'm not up here enough.
Yeah. You should come up more.
Yeah, I should.
We'll try to make that happen for you, okay? Of course, you're here because yesterday was Kind of Funny's Game of the Year 2024. Of course, what we all do is blind vote. Thank you, Kevin. Send in our personal top 10 list. Barrett weights them, scores them, and then we all find out, as well as you, what the 10 best games of the year are when we build up to that number one. But rather than what we've done in the past, which would be do game of the year, here's the game of the year, and then Barrett breaks down all the stats and also goes into all the personal tops, and we also, well, this was my list, that was my list. We thought, why not celebrate game of the year all week long? So all week long, you will be getting breakouts like this, where we sit down, one-on-one, three people, three-way, I think they call it a menage a trois, where they will sit and we will all run through our personal top 10 list so you see how we scored our games, what we thought defined our 2024, and so on and so forth. Of course, the notable exception to all of that is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Gamescast is not going to be the game of the year top 10 breakdown because the one, the only Shuhei Yoshida, that's right, has finally left PlayStation after 31 years, and his first stop, thank you, Kevin. Now that he is an unemployed vagabond, is to pop on to the Kind of Funny Gamescast and do a one-on-one interview with me tomorrow. Of course, Shu is in Japan, which means timing will be different. So Gamescast will be live at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We are starting later in the day with Kind of Funny Games Daily. We will then roll on into the Kind of Funny stream, and then at 4 p.m., a one-on-one with me and Shu, talking about his career, where he's going from here, and of course, first question out of the gate, who do you hate? Who do you hate at PlayStation that you can never say? I want to know. My money's on Sid Schumann. Just kidding, Sid. We love you. Of course, everybody, like I said, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we talk to you about the biggest topics in video games, whether they be reviews, previews, or just things we need to say. If you like that, of course, pick up the Kind of Funny membership. You can get it on patreon.com/kindoffunny, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Apple or Spotify. No matter where you get it, you'd be getting every one of our shows, more than 20 a week, ad-free, and me in a daily dose we call Gregway. That's right, a vlog/podcast, however you want to get it, where I just talk to you for like 15 minutes. It's great. We have fun. It's good times. If you're on Patreon, if you're on YouTube, you can also get us recording the afternoon podcasts like we did yesterday with Kind of Funny Podcast with Parris, where Parris laid out why he hates Tim.
Yes,
and we appreciate it. Of course, no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. You can just watch everything for free on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or listen for free on podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get the show and consume it, please support it, like, subscribe, share. If you're watching live as we record it right now or tomorrow's Shu interview, of course, YouTube super chats on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames are how you can be part of the show with your thoughts, opinions, and more. Housekeeping, like I said, tomorrow's a crazy schedule. I think it's, Kevin, if you can, I guess I could do it. No, I don't have it open. I think it's 11:30 for Games Daily tomorrow is what we're doing. Then the stream after that. And then, like I said, 4 o'clock. I got the calendar open. I'm clicking it in. 11:30 for Games Daily stream. Then the Shu interview at 4 o'clock. There's a new Kind of Funny podcast app. You know that. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, you already got Games Daily today because we're an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Games Daily today had our live reactions to the Until Dawn movie footage. The stream after this is Roger's special movie game. It's just when Roger's special movie game Makes me think of things that it isn't. Instead, it's Nick with a football for some reason, constantly trying to guess actors, but it's a fun thing. You'll enjoy it. If you're a Kind of Funny member, like I said, you can get today's Gregway. It's all about my one-man show that's coming to Chicago this April. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining and Carl Jacobs. Today, we're brought to you by BetterHelp, ExpressVPN, and MeUndies, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the topic of the show. I'll tell you what, Mr. Lilly.
Yes.
I am more excited for this podcast than I was Game of the Year overall. I enjoy talking about the games I love and that defined my year. And I think that's where I want to start the conversation with you before we go into all of this. How did you approach your Game of the Year list? Like when you have to do a top 10, what are you thinking?
My first thing was games that I completed. I needed to have rolled credits on them or I would not have it on the list. So as an example, Metaphor was not on the list because I didn't complete it. After that, it just comes down to fun factor. Yeah. How much fun did I have playing this game? Was it something memorable about it that stuck in my head that carries on after I roll credits, where I still think about it? Could be the story, could be the gameplay, art design level, whatever, but there was something memorable about it that stayed with me. And that's how I catered my list.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really hate top 10s, top 25s, top 50s, and to a degree Game of the Year as well. Because I hate the arguments, and I hate, because when you start arguing about it, right, it always feels to me that it's come down that, well, no, we have to objectively say this is the Game of the Year. And it drove me crazy at IGN. Yeah. And obviously Kind of Funny is a way different beast. And what I love about the way we do Game of the Year, especially in the blind, is the fact that these are the 10 games for each person that matter to them for some reason. Yeah. This is what defines their 2024. And I think that is, for me at least, having been at IGN for so long and been very serious about that carries a different weight to me than IGN Game of the Year did. Because I distinctly remember, I want to say it was, maybe it wasn't shit. No, I distinctly remember, and I can't remember it. Whatever year The Walking Dead season 1 was the talk of the town, and it was up for Game of the Year. I remember being in the conference room. We had argued for hours about all this stuff, and it was down to Walking Dead, and I want to say Journey, but that I don't think is actually correct. But it doesn't matter who the opponent was. But we're arguing, and I had pushed Walking Dead the entire time. And we got to this choice, and I got up, and I was like, all right, cool. Now that we're here, it's got to be the other one. Kebab says it was Journey. I'm like, it's got to be Journey. Like, Walking Dead is a great game and experience. It is broken. It is buggy. It is this. Like, for me, when I was like IGN putting their stamp of approval and saying this is Game of the Year, to me, when I worked there, meant that like in 30 years, you should look back and be like, oh, that was this amazing game. And I wouldn't want somebody booting up. You're like, why does it crash every time Lee climbs the ladder? Which was one of the issues, right? Whereas with this one, I come in here and yesterday it was revealed at the end of our thing, like of the games on our top 10, which are more than 10, which we'll get to in a second, only 2 of those were on my list. And to me, that doesn't invalidate my list. It makes me so excited that I played different things and had a different perspective and did a different thing. But if I would have been at IGN, I think there would have been more of like, all right, I didn't play Final Fantasy Remake like beyond the first 2 hours, but I know how quality is. And so like, am I then entering into an argument to then argue, even though I didn't play Final Fantasy, against something else? Like, we just don't have to do that here. The votes go in, the answers come out, and we all then get to do this cool stuff, which I'm always a big fan of. If you want to know, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs watching right now, of course, our top 10 for Kind of Funny broke down like this. Of course, this is a spoiler if you're, for some reason, not caught up on yesterday's show, but I think you're going to be okay. Number 10 was a tie between Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Tekken 8. Number 9 was Dragon Age The Veilguard. Number 8 was Nine Souls. Number 7 was Hades 2. Number 6 was Animal Well. Number 5 was a tie between Prince of Persia The Lost Crown and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Number 4 was Bellatra. Number 3 was Metaphor ReFantazio. Number 2 was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And number 1, our game of the year, was Astro Bot. Parris, Lilly, kick it in reverse and start with number 10. What was your number 10?
My number 10, ironically enough, was Black Ops 6. So that's why if you go watch it, I was like,
so far you're 1 for 1. Right. Yeah, you're just nailing it. You're right on with the should be.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I thought, like I even said on the Game of the Year show, it was the complete package of Call of Duty that had been missing for a very long time, where every mode was really good. I was pleasantly surprised at how good that campaign was. And
it's not on my shoulder too, Ben. God dang it.
You know, and the multiplayer is what it is now. They've obviously had the Omni movement and stuff into it now, but the multiplayer is a lot of fun. Great Friday, Saturday night sessions, you know, with the friends, having a blast with that. Zombies was really good, and I never really had been a zombies person before, but playing that, had a lot of fun in that mode too. Very polished, high production, Treyarch, and was it Raven?
Yeah,
right?
Raven.
Raven. They knocked it out of the park. I thought it was, again, one of the best Call of Duties we've had.
Did this surprise you? I know you, of course, as Parris Lilly, Xbox fanboy, Xbot, you know what I mean? Phil Spencer's right-hand man, can't trust a word you say, but also the Destiny guy.
Yeah.
So, like, is it rare that a Call of Duty is going to break into your top 10?
In recent times, it is. Again, if you go back to, like, the original Modern Warfares and the Black Ops, I mean, yeah, those are all in my wheelhouse, but I had definitely fallen off Call of Duty, I would say, over the past probably 8 years or so, where it's like, I'll check out the multiplayer. The campaign wasn't really doing anything for me. But this campaign was really good. Yeah. As you strip in front of me, it's great.
Hey, man. Yeah. I look at this, I'm like, there's got to be a line for how much of my son's bodily fluids I can have on me.
But no, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I just thought they delivered a very solid package. And like I even said before, we typically just take Call of Duty for granted because
it's going to be there.
It's always there. It's always going to sell well, the whole thing. But this one was really, really good.
So now, does this inspire confidence in you that next year you're going to see another Call of Duty on your list, or do you think this is like
I would hope so, but it wouldn't surprise me if it took a step back.
Got it.
And that's, I think, the curse of the yearly release of Call of Duty, whereas you got to have one out every year.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Fair enough. I like that pick. I'm glad it resonated with you and stuff. Yeah. For me, my number 10, Path of Exile 2. This is a conversation we had on the show yesterday, but early access games are available for being voted on and being in here in our game of the year. When before, it's been completely freewheeling of like whatever you want to play, you can put on the list kind of thing. Barrett wanted to crack down a bit this year, and so what we came down to was, of course, the game had to be released this year, but that includes seasonal updates. That includes a giant update content. I waded into the Reddit last night where people were having many respectful conversations about our list or whatever. And there was somebody saying, well, now that Hades 2 made the overall top 10, it's for 2024, it's going to be impossible to put on 25, which is untrue for us, where if there's a big update, which I would assume Hades launching or whatever it's going to be, I don't even know what number they're on, 0.1 of whatever, they'd still be able to. And I think Path of Exile 2 for me is still very much in that running. Path of Exile 2 is at the top 10, the 10th entry for me, because it's fantastic, obviously, but mainly because it is early access and it came out late, and I didn't get to endgame with it and all this other stuff. I've played a bunch of it, I'm wowed by it, and I'm going to stop, I think, until it is time for the next major update, or here we are, we're fully launching the game. Yeah. Because Path of Exile 2, and this is coming from a Diablo sicko, right, is so impressive in what it's done. And I know I've talked about it, but that's what we're doing on this show, so strap in, everybody. It's the idea that I love Diablo 4, warts and all, everything else about it, and burned myself out on Diablo 4 this year, which shockingly we'll get to eventually in my top 10 list. Path of Exile 2 coming, I looked at it and I was like, all right, it's more Diablo. I'm not going to want to stick with it. I started up, I don't get to make my own character. I got to pick that's just not a Greg thing. You get in and it's very boss-based of here's the skulls and go find. To get in there and find the rhythm of combat and be like, this is weightier, this is slower, this is more methodical of I walk in and you can get killed by a boss or anybody and then respawn very close and not lose anything, but I want to beat that boss and I want to do that thing. So now I'm doing the Souls-like of, all right, when do I dodge, when do I attack, what is your thing, what do I need to be using for, let alone, again, how much content there is here for an early access game, for an incomplete game. Like Path of Exile 2 wowed me for what it was, especially for as late in the year as it came. So it's one of those I can't wait to get more of in 2025, and I'd be shocked if they fully release it or put out a giant update that it doesn't inch its way back onto my list next year.
Yeah, I mean, this for me was, I haven't played it, and I kept hearing about it over the year coming out, and I just didn't know what to expect. But to see when it came out, how people just resonated with it, I'm not surprised that it's on your top 10 list at all.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the future for Path of Exile 2 and see where that all shakes out. Parris, what was your number 9?
My number 9 was The Plucky Squire. It's a game that I had been anticipating for a few years, ever since they had revealed it. And something about just the animation, obviously going from 2D to 3D, I just love it. I just think it's such a visual showcase in that way. And I thought the puzzles were a lot of fun. I loved just some of the variety that you would have with those puzzles. I loved how you'd have to move around different words to go, and it's like this storybook thing, and you're changing it along the way. I just love the game. I get the criticisms that people have had about it, like it didn't really do anything super unique beyond the 2D to 3D thing, but for me, it was a special game that I'd been anticipating for a long time, and then when it came out, it hit. I thought they were able to nail what they were trying to accomplish with it. Another great entry coming from Devolver.
Yeah, Plucky Squire, I'm one of those people. I remember we talked about it when I did review it. I forget what I gave it, but my thing was I felt like it didn't live up to what it could have been. But I think that also throws the baby out with the bathwater when you start boiling down the conversation. It is gorgeous. I forget for DICE where we were talking about innovation and being up for this jump from 2D to 3D is impressive. Yeah, I just wanted more from it. And I thought, it was too easy. I know one of the things they've done since launch is put out a patch that does you can turn off the hand holding. So it would be more, hey, we're not every time telling you to go here, do the next thing, go do this thing. I thought Plucky Squire had a lot of juice, and I just didn't think it delivered on all of it, but I don't ever want to take away from still a totally enjoyable experience.
My thing is no one else is doing that. There's not another game out that's doing that, that has attempted to try this, and that's why I think it resonated with me so more, because it felt very unique in that way.
For sure, and I totally get that, and I totally see that. And my hope, this is, it's always funny when, you know how the internet is, either love it or hate it. So when I hate a game, which I didn't for Plucky Squire, but when it doesn't, I don't think they got all of it. I'm sitting here and watching it, left hoping they do too. Do a Plucky Squire too. Take all the feedback, get a little bit looser with it. I didn't think the mini games the 3 mini games they had in there, if I remember correctly, were all that great in terms of the bow and arrow and stuff. So move away from that. Let me do more. Give me more complicated puzzles. That's what I would really want out of this, and really elevate this, because I think it's a great idea that just need a little bit more, not even time to bake, because the game's very well done for what it is, but more time in that stage of all right, we have these mechanics, how do we make them more interesting in the long term?
And I think that's the long-term potential, that if they are able to do a sequel, there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from this, to your very point of they'll be able to improve on this concept. But I think even for what it is, this is something that I would recommend people to go play. I think you'll enjoy your time with it.
In a similar vein, my number 9 is Caravan Sandwich. This is one that I had put out, and if you're an audio listener, that's Caravan, sand, like sand on a beach, witch, like a witch at Halloween, not sandwich like you're eating. This is one that came on late in the year for me as well. I saw somebody share a trailer, and I clicked on it, and I was like, wait, it's a exploration, open world, but no combat, just driving this van around and hearing the story of these gorgeous visuals. And it had come out in September. I had completely missed it. I jumped in, and I found it to be again, my top 10 is the games that defined my 2024, right? And this is a game that came along exactly when I needed it. I had been jumping from review to review to review, and then jumped into this game where there isn't a gun at the back of my head to go do this, to get to the review embargo, to do whatever. It was I could go, and I could explore, and I could take in what is a gorgeous game. If you're an audio listener, I fully encourage you to go look at the visuals for this. It is a stunning game. I feel like it is an independent game where you are this one character who drives this van around this desolate town / landscape, looking for clues, doing little missions. You've seen using tools of yanking down doors to get the thing, and connecting with this cast of characters. And there is, when I described it to Andy when I was playing it, when he walked by, he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, well, this woman's sister has been missing, but now they've got an emotional connection." He's like, "Oh, say no more. It's a Greg game." I'm like, "Well, but it's not even so much the Greg part of it as much as the, hey, here's a beautiful game, both in terms of sight and sound. Just run through, explore it at your own pace, do what you want to do with it." I loved Caravan Sandwich, and I think I loved it. And I forget what I gave it when I reviewed it. I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was mid 7s, maybe an 8, but look me up and tell me. It's one of those of just done so well in what I needed in that moment, in that little respite, and this what games can be, that it doesn't need to be the biggest fucking thing in the world. It can be, I'm running around talking to my dad who I haven't seen, what's going on. I loved it.
That's great. And full disclosure, it's my first time seeing it.
No, I mean, that's what I love, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that was, I talked about it over dinner with you last night, right? Of the idea here of when we did our list yesterday and somebody in chat was like, I've only played 2 of these games. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that games are that
Yeah.
diverse and our thing is that crazy that you can go ahead and do this. So yeah, great stuff.
Awesome.
Mr. Lilly, what is your number 8?
So my number 8 is Never.
Never.
Did you play it?
I did. I didn't roll credits. I did play
Okay.
it.
Because when you talk about Greg ass games,
Yeah.
this seems like it's a Greg ass game
Yeah.
to me. And this was probably the most emotionally invested I was in a game this year, where I might have shed a tear or two
Yeah.
playing this game. Literally, there's only one word spoken the entire game.
Never.
Never. And that's all you freaking need.
Yeah.
It whenever that goddamn dog would be in danger,
Oh yeah.
Never. We gotta save her. But you know, it's a side scroller. There's puzzle elements in it. There is some combat in it where they do some unique things on it. You know, as you're trying to traverse through levels and all that. I mean, you're looking at it right now.
Gorgeous.
The art is just such a freaking
gorgeous.
beautiful game. Really beautiful game, and it's so funny because it's one that I wasn't even considering. And I got to give a shout out to Danny Pena. He played it and he was like, you got to play this. You have to go play it. And I was like, okay, let me see what all the hubbub's about.
Yeah.
I downloaded this thing and I started playing instant. Hooked me instantly.
Not
And,
long.
Yeah. Not long. And you don't need, it doesn't need to be long, but
Oh, I didn't mean it as a negative.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like,
But you can get in, you can play this. It's like I said, it's a beautiful game to look at. The gameplay is good enough
yeah.
in it to carry you through. And by the time again, I'm not spoiling nothing, but you might cry. You
Yeah, that's the
just
thing.
might cry.
Didn't roll credits on it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed my time with it, but it was one of those that I felt. I forget if I think I just looked at my trophies and they're a little bit cumbersome to figure out from
Yeah.
that. But I feel like I'm a third of the way through it, or 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was one of those. I'm enjoying this and I like it, but I put it down to move on to the review.
Did you
or
get to
do
the
whatever.
winter part yet?
I have completed summer. No, I have not gotten to winter. I have no completions on winter. It looks like that's where I gotta go.
I'm just saying.
I'll put it on fast track. I'll want to get back to it. Yeah, because it was, from the look of it, gorgeous, and then playing it, I was like, I'm enjoying this, but I guess in where I am, I just didn't have the hook in me of like,
Yeah.
I got to see this through.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, don't tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like you kind of know where it's going or what you're gonna do in terms of a story, like of the tearjerker, and you're gonna put the dog in danger and this, that, the other, wolf, whatever. You know, we'll see. Don't tell me anything. Oh, that's funny. It started doing this all screwed up. That's why it's all screwed up. Anyway, so that was your 8th, right? 10, 9, 8, yeah. So then my 8th, I put down as Monster Hunter Now, Season 3, Curse of the Wandering Flames. Between you and me, everybody, nothing that special, I think, about Season 3. It was Monster Hunter Now. And again, as I talked about earlier this week, Monster Hunter Now has come so far in its first year. Of course, launched last year, then to be out here. And I know already, Neo Aoshi says lol, probably lolling me, saying I just put it in the back door to make sure Barrett would put it on my list and not disqualify me, right? It is the idea that I play games differently now. And having been and chasing me around the playground and all these different things, like when I get downstairs and I think my year is defined by, these are games I loved. These games defined my year in a way that when I sat down and I played Final Fantasy Rebirth for that 2 hours, I was like, this isn't hitting for me and I don't want to force it.
Yeah.
And when I played Metaphor and I was like, I put 10 or 15 hours into it, whatever it was. And I'm like, I get it. This is great. I don't want to do turn-based strategy another 70, 80 hours.
Right.
And
Totally
it's like, I'm going to go play the things I need to go play, right? Or want to go play outside of the reviews I'm doing. And so Monster Hunter Now is something I had played at launch, was like, okay, get it, whatever. To come back a year later and like be into it the way I am, and like you jump in and there are so many quests to do. The quality of life improvements they've made of, before you'd have to be local with somebody to battle with them. Now there still is that, but there's portals where you can go fight the bigger monsters with people from all over the world. There's marathon monster portals to go into where, Ben's doing whatever he's doing and I get to pop in and I just do 5 monsters in a row. Maybe I leave early and I get the rewards I had or whatever, but it's in there. It's grinding. I like the Battle Pass has so many great visual, cosmetic is what I'm trying to go for. Improvements to armor that I'm going and chasing down. Oh, I want this set for that. Oh, I love this set of armor, but I don't like the stats on it. So I'm grinding just like in real Monster Hunter. And you know how I'm a Monster Hunter sicko. Grinding for this, Lego, whatever the hell armor it is. But I only want the visuals of it. I don't want the thing. I just need to build it. It's like they have all the real hooks of Monster Hunter in here. And is the gameplay challenging? No, but it is invested in a way Pokemon isn't. This is what Tim always talks about when I bring it up, right? Of like, he loves Pokemon, but Pokemon is totally, whatever, set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about you throwing the ball, you're doing whatever. Whereas this, it is tap, 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 but it is, when do I reload? When do I dodge roll? Can I get a perfect dodge on this? I love the game for the mission structure of, cool, I'm set with my Mr. Beast sword that I got off whatever dumb event that's a pretty great sword, but then there'll be today's challenge is use this explosive grenade or do this whole thing. And so I'm suddenly trying a new weapon that I didn't think I would like, but now I do like it. And I'm learning also this control is completely different than my, it's a very, very deep mobile Monster Hunter game. And I think it is very easy to look past that, especially in the United States, where this has not caught on. People are not playing it. But, we had a friend, one of Jen's friends over who lives in Japan. And he casually, I'm like, you play Monster Hunter now? He's like, oh yeah, everybody plays in Japan. I'm like, oh, tell me all about it. They just, I'm like, oh, I know. I wanted to go over, but I couldn't. It was like, to find people who are also connecting with it and talking about it, being excited about it is so exciting for me. Because it is a game here, like many games on my list this year, which I love for the diversity. It's like, I really like this. Nobody else here does. that's fine. That's great. That's cool. Yeah. But it's like, I would love to gush about this. I would love to go have a group to go wander out and go, Tim walks around the block every day to go get his Pokemon Go. I would love to have people to go do that with. Monster Hunter now, I think, is in a very special place, and I'm excited for it. They just announced yesterday a February event that will tie in now to Wilds, where you go through and you play the stuff in now and you'll get those stuff in Wilds. I can't fucking wait.
Awesome.
What is your number 7?
All right. So I kind of hyped this up a little bit.
You did yesterday. You've been teasing your number 7, which I mean, I can guess what it's going to be. Then.
Yeah. It is Indiana Jones in the Great Circle.
But Parris, you and I are the only people in the industry who hated Indiana Jones. We hated it, didn't we?
Yeah, allegedly we hated it, but you can tell people just looked at a number and didn't actually listen to what we said.
Well, again, IGN gave it a 9. So you giving it a 7? A good on the Kind of Funny scale? Me giving it a 6.5 and okay? That means we hate it. That means we hate this game and want to see it fail. That's my favorite thing. We want to see it fail.
But the reason, and I put it at 7 a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Honestly, it probably could have been higher on my list. And here's why. So we obviously did the review. We talked about the things that we didn't like about the game, and all those are still 100% valid.
Sure.
None of that has changed for me. But I had someone say to me, but you love Indiana Jones. Part of the appeal of Indiana Jones is kind of the slapstick combat. And that actually plays into the way that the AI is dumb as bricks. That is part of the appeal of Indiana Jones. And when that person said that to me, I was like, you know what? You're kind of right. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was me expecting more out of the gameplay versus them actually nailing what makes Indiana Jones, which they did in absolute spades. That was the thing about it. Obviously, we know Troy Baker was phenomenal as Indiana Jones. I mean, hell, you would have thought he was Harrison Ford.
Yeah, 100%.
But it is the third best story in the Indiana Jones saga, in my opinion, behind Raiders and, The Last Crusade. It was that good. The other supporting characters in there were fantastic as well. I even said in the review, I love the puzzles. Puzzles were freaking great in it. I mean, obviously this world spanning adventure that you went on was something that Indiana Jones would do. They never portrayed the character of Indiana Jones. There was nothing Indy did in this game that I was like, he wouldn't do that. That's not something Indiana Jones would do. All this is stuff that he would do. So in that regard, fantastic story, fantastic performances in here. I mean, graphically, everything, it was great. Sure, I was very harsh on it for the dumb AI. I still am. But
you weren't very harsh. Is like you're letting the internet color you. We weren't harsh. We were just like, hey, this doesn't work in these. In why? You know?
No,
what I mean?
Yeah, but and I guess when I say harsh is just as far as obviously we've seen other people call it their game of the year, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, things like that. I'm knocking it down a few pegs because the video gamey parts of it weren't what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
especially coming from Machine Games. But it's almost kind of, in retrospect, thinking about it, like, okay, I see why people are so in love with this game, because I am too. That's the hilarious thing about all of this. I love the goddamn game. It was never a thing of me not liking the game. It was me trying to just review it for what it was from a mechanical standpoint, all those things. But
and I think that's, for me coming in and talking about it from my perspective, right? Like, I like Indiana Jones fine, but I've never been a huge fan.
Yeah.
So for me, this was strictly coming in as a video game. Like, it was very much like I didn't get references, and I see people talking like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it too, whereas you don't have that love of indie that I do, because I feel like I grew up with it. So I get a lot of some of the quirks and the things that like this whole scene right here. This is 100% something Indiana Jones would do in a game. So, or in a movie, I should say. So yeah, I loved it. It is definitely something that people should play. I think it is one of the best games that has come out this year.
One of the top 7, according to you.
Yeah, according to me, one of the top 7. That's why I gave it a 7 out of 10, right? But yeah, it was fantastic. It's a great game.
Y2 Jervis in the live chat says Greg hated it because it's on Xbox. JK. I will tip my hand and let you know I'm going to do a fake review when it comes to PlayStation, just for social, where I'll come out here and have the thing going. And be like, I'm going to say all the same stuff I said, but now it's on PlayStation, so it's a 9.
Yeah.
Just like, post it, no context, and be like, I updated my review. My number 7 shocks no one, I'm sure. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. This is a similar thing to Monster Hunter now, of like, similar but different, but same. Where I never stopped playing Diablo. I love Diablo. Everyone knows I love Diablo. It's another game that nobody here gives a real shit about. So Joey does, but not like, like today they dropped the next season, season of Witchcraft, and I was like, oh fuck, and I'm like looking at all stuff. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I want that. Oh, and then they're doing these improvements over. I'm like, oh, this is fucking right. Doesn't matter. Throughout this year and what the summer I'll say summer, but probably a little bit before that. That's when they really started dropping the quality of life stuff, getting ready for this. And when I went and previewed it, got to talk to Rod and everybody else, and Rod was on our shows and talking about the fact of, we could have held on to these quality of life improvements, right? The Loot Reborn stuff, but instead, or held on for Vessel of Hatred, but instead put it out early. So it's like, I'm including that here when I talk about Vessel of Hatred, because I think so many people came back to this game and found, oh man, the loot's better. Oh man, this is going on. Oh man, they got Hell Tides, they got this, blah, blah, blah. Let alone a new class in Spiritborn, let alone the new environment of Nahatu, like all these different things they're doing in Diablo. And of course, my story goes that I burned out on Diablo. I made the stupid thing of I wanted it platinum before the expansion got here. Yeah. So I went and played the expansion for preview down at Blizzard. Came back hungry, starving for more Diablo, and then overate platinuming it, and platinumed it, and then put it down. I was like, I don't want any more. This dropped, jumped in, and went through it, and I reviewed it, and then I played it on my own too. I love it. I think I'm hungry that I'm excited for the next season here of Witchcraft. I think I'll be back for that or whatever. But it was like just overeating on my thing, but I don't want that to take away from what they did here and the amount of hours I put into it, right? This is my most played, Diablo is my most played game, I believe, this year. My PlayStation stats aren't anywhere I can easily get to them anymore. But it was like such a thing for me all year long, and it would be so foolish. It was the first game I played in 2024. I'm still playing it, obviously, with this break right now, but I thought they did such a great job this year listening to the audience. And I know that's a loaded statement because, of course, the Diablo audience is very large and everybody wants something different from it. They've transitioned the game into something that I really like. And again, it is that idea of jumping in and it's instant combat, instant reward. It's blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand that some people don't want that and they want the Path of Exile thing more, which again, I love Path of Exile. I just think this is such a nice spot right now for what it is. And I'm excited to roll a new character for the next season, which is crazy of like, I think as long as games as a service have been talked about, whether it's me at IGN or me at Kind of Funny, you've seen me want something like this. I want a game to constantly go back to. I love having a lineage in stuff. I love sitting down and being like, I want to play something tonight, but I don't want to start a new thing. So is there new stuff in my old games or something, a reason to go back and a reason to go do this? I think Diablo's doing a great job of doing that for me. And I know that's not for everybody. And I know the hardest of hardcore people have plenty of complaints, but I am not trying to go through and set speed run times and I like to go in there, level up the character, beat the shit out of some things, get cool gear, play with my friends a little bit, play with Jen, right? And go out there.
Awesome.
That was my number 7. So what is your number 6?
So my number 6 is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
I am not gonna lie, I'm jealous. This is a game that I had seen obviously for so long. I wanted to play. We only got the one review code, which meant I went on a different review, and I still haven't gotten back to play it.
Yeah.
And it's that thing where it's like, it looks so good, Parris.
Yeah, and it is. And the thing about this is obviously it's taking the Link's Awakening, remake, art style on there, which I love right off the bat. But you think coming off of Breath of the Wild, what could they do with Zelda? How about I get to play as Zelda?
Yeah.
So that number one was an instant checkbox for me. But I love how you can take the echoes and it varies the play style of how you just the common enemies, the mini bosses, the bosses that you'll have, and how you'll traverse through these levels. There's so many different unique combinations of how you do it, because you can virtually take any object in the world and recreate it to use in combat, to use to get across the level, right? Or whatever the case. So in that way, I think everyone's play style is going to be unique because people are going to do different things. It's damn near whatever your imagination comes up with. And obviously there's certain creatures and objects you'll have to find in the world first to be able to use that. But once you get out into that open world and you're able to start doing that, and you go to some of these dungeons, I mean, it's classic Legend of Zelda style dungeons that you'll have in here, some classic boss battles that you'll have in here, like you're seeing now with the tables. You're able to create that. You can stack them up. You can get on top of the trees. You can do all this.
I gotta make time for this.
Yeah, it's Nintendo. It's Zelda. No one's playing this and going, yeah, wasn't that good? It's freaking great. It's fantastic.
And you rolled credits on this.
How
long did it take you? Ballpark, I know.
God, I think it's not that long. Maybe like 12 hours.
Yeah. I started, in my quest lately that we covered on Games Daily last week of like, I want to play some, like I picked up Switch and I saw it and I was like, I really should finish Link's Awakening. I went and started Link's Awakening and I started that, but then the performance was so bad I jumped out of it. And so now it's like, can I just skip to this? Like, what do I want to do? How was performance in this one?
It seemed fine to me. I didn't really have any issues. I never played it in dock mode. It was all just on the Switch itself, and it was fine.
Okay. Rounding out the bottom five, right? Mm-hmm. My number 6. And remember, this is a safe spot. These are the games that defined us, and yada, yada, yada. All right. And I will give you I will count to 15 because I know it's on chat. You can give it to me, and then we're going to get serious about it. All right. My number 6 is Starfield Shattered Space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Thank you. I saw a lot of people saying, we're done now. We can stop now, right? We can talk about this. Because for me, Shattered Space is the parallel to Diablo, where Starfield, of course, was not the game many people wanted, right? Starfield has a boatload of issues at launch and to this day, obviously. But you're talking about a journey of about a year, right? And how much Bethesda has put into Starfield in that year to get to this point where it is 60 frames on consoles now, right? It is the creation shops. It is the ability of going in there and being able to change a boatload of gameplay modifiers to make the game easy, harder, whatever, to get you more XP or less XP, whatever you want to go do, right? To make the game your own. And then, of course, for me, this is the first Bethesda game, and I know this is crazy for so many, but remember, I'm a console kid, and I'm usually the review kid, and then I bounce and don't come back. This is the first Bethesda game where I've actually done the mods, where I go into the creation suite, right, and download all manner of different things to make the game more what I want or more what I'm trying to get out of it, right, to go into creations in the creation kit. And so I have had such a ball. You've probably heard me, both as the joke and as the real thing, talk about how much I love Starfield. Starfield is the most connected I've ever been to a role-playing game, and I love Western RPGs. I play the shit out of Western RPGs. I adore Western RPGs, but this is the one where I did the whole spoiler cast where I told you my Becky Lynch story, right, and all these different things. Like, that has only continued, and I still feel that, and I still make these little changes here and there to get to continuing this narrative of who she is and what the character's doing and what's going on in the world. So to get all those improvements, to get the car, right, the RAV, whatever the fuck it's called, and then, of course, get Shattered Space drop and to jump into Shattered Space and have Shattered Space be what I want out of Bethesda. It isn't here fucking, let's go craft a fucking table and make an outpost. Yeah, it's no, you are our own. Here, you have been transported to this one planet, right, with this one settlement for House Varun. You've heard about them throughout the base game. Andreja, of course. This is my whole Starfield story to a T. That, like, if you haven't paid attention, there was a bug in my game that worked out perfectly for me and Andreja, and then the new game plus of Starfield works so well into that bug that I had that it was like, everything has worked out so well that I then get this DLC that's about the character that I married, that I'm in love with, that I've made this narrative with, right? Like, it was basically in the stars, no pun intended, that I would want to be a part of this and love this. And again, I've seen so many criticisms of, well, there's not this much, or this choice doesn't matter, and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, but it's still light years ahead than what we had in base game in terms of all that. And to have, after what I'm currently at 5 days and 20 hours or whatever on my save, right? So before this, when I was at 4 days or whatever the hell it was, to have suddenly this new planet with all these new colors and all this new stuff, right? Like, it was in like Kebab's choices in an RPG that don't matter. What is this, 2012? I'm, of course, bring out what the haters think. The choices matter to me. I think it matters in terms of what my character is and what Becky is and yada, yada, yada. But then, even yesterday, where even though I missed it by a month somehow because nobody gives a shit about Starfield, the Doom drop of content, the Bethesda putting out the quests on the creation thing of, all right, there's this little one about, trying to find this perfect recipe, and now there's this weird escape room thing, and yada, yada, yada. Like, they keep giving me a reason to turn on Starfield and continue to exist in this world in a way that I just adore. And I understand that people hate Starfield and it's blah, 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 blah. There's something special to Starfield if you give yourself to it, which I did, and I drank the Kool-Aid. And I'm not saying, again, back to the start of this show, this is the 6th best graphics story complete. Like, this is how much this game mattered to me in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. And to just go on that, like, I have not played Shattered Space yet. And I will fully admit part of the reason why is I saw the negative reviews around it, and we're trying to do 10,000 other things at the same time. I'm like, I will eventually get to it. But one thing that I'll always hold on to is your love for it, because I love Starfield. Yeah. I had a great time, with the original campaign. And then when I saw some of the criticisms about the DLC, I'm like, I'll eventually get to it at some point when I have a break in free time. I still think there's a lot of potential in this world and in this game. Obviously, all the stuff that's coming out of the creation kit that they have in there. But, we'll see, I'm sure, because they're still doing a major expansion, right?
I think it's been mum's the word.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, I would say no.
Interesting.
I don't know anymore what they're on the hook for.
Yeah.
And I think they'll continue to support it through Creation Suite. I think they'll continue to do updates.
Yeah.
But in terms of another, major expansion thing, I don't know what was promised in the season pass. Chat, you probably know better than me. Or not the season pass, but like the,
I can't remember.
Super Deluxe Edition, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
I would imagine that they're going to be like, you know what? We're not going to do this. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to keep supporting and keep doing this thing, but all hands on deck for Elder Scrolls. Keep pushing Fallout 76 content, which I know I'm jumping studios, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to take our foot off of this and worry about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
My whole thing, and ironically enough, is both Bethesda games.
Albert says there's one more coming for sure called Starborn.
Yeah, that's why I thought so.
Oh, okay. Trent says it's copyrighted Starborn.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly the next expansion. Okay.
Which kind of makes sense.
Want that. I love that. Again, like, when you're in these scenarios where everyone just wants to, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about Bethesda and Starfield, everyone wants to dogpile on the game and they hate it because of X, Y, and Z. I don't know at what point you have the turning point where it is like, okay, cool, this is universally great, or there's something here. Like, I think from the jump, there's been a lot to enjoy about Starfield. I just think that Starfield, the hype to it ran away from reality. Where when Mike was like, this needs to be a game of the generation, I was like, I can tell you straight up that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was another Bethesda game. These are the kind of games Bethesda makes, and I fucking love those, warts and all, understanding that they're not the greatest thing of all time.
Would it be fair would this be a good comparison of what we saw with Cyberpunk? Now, obviously, Cyberpunk had a lot of technical issues, which held it back. But look at the redemption that they had, 3 years, 4 years later, whatever it was, with Phantom Liberty. Whereas now you talk about Cyberpunk, people do see it as this apex top shelf game that people adore.
I don't think so. I don't think that ever happens for them. And I think there's a bunch of different reasons for it. But like, I would wade into like Cyberpunk's issue. Yeah, it was hey, the game's broken. It's not
Yeah.
running. It's this, that, the other, right? Like I played it on PS5, the PS4 version, had a great time with it, enjoyed my time, and platinumed it once they fixed the one little bug I had, right? I think Starfield is way more like, yo, base building is meaningless. Yo, this, like eating is meaningless. Like you put all these systems in there. I still, when I turn on and play this game, I still can't believe the UI is ugly as it is. Where nobody has been like that. Nobody in this, I'm sure somebody at Bethesda is working on it, but nobody has come through to be like, let's make this look cool. Like it's not cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like Cyberpunk was you sold us a raw deal, where I think Starfield is you just didn't live up to people's expectations. Because even then they showed all this stuff, but then you got it and you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. And now my own counter argument to be as a Starfield stan, right, would be, of course, well, you can go in now to the settings and make all that shit matter. Like, I want the bonus XP, so I go in and I've turned on status effects. So I do have to eat and drink in this fucking game all the time because it gives me the thing to level up faster. But it's like, I think there are so many core turnoffs to Starfield, even for me, where it's like, I play RPGs, right, for that ding, that level up. What's the new skill? What's the new thing? Blah, blah, blah. Starfield, you level up so painfully fucking slow. And even when you do, there's all these like minutia things. Well, now you got to do it 500 times to be able to unlock the next. I don't pay attention to any of it. Like my character is, of course, already a god. Like I've been playing so long, right? Like, and she's gone through the Unity so many times.
Yeah.
Like, none of that matters. Like I'm not, but I've already, it was such an uphill battle to get the perks I wanted that I have the build and the character I want. Where it's like, that sucks, and that was never Cyberpunk's problem, right? Cyberpunk was always cool, whether you're using the gun or using the blade or doing this thing. Like, this is just a very particular RPG, I think. And I think that it's such a turnoff to so many people the way it is. Whereas for me, I'm like, I don't want to do any of the crafting. I don't want to do this stuff. I just want to run out and fun stories and shoot my guns and get my Doomslayer suit and have a great time. So I digress. We are into our top fives, everybody. But before then, I'll remind you, we couldn't do the show without you. I have some super chats I want to get back to when we come out of this ad break. But remember, if you are watching live, you can super chat over at kindoffunny.com/ I screwed up. youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Super chat on this episode with your top five so I can go through and compare them to ours. What you think of our bottom five and our soon-to-be top five, et cetera, and so on and so on. But remember, we couldn't do the show without you. So please consider picking up a Kind of Funny membership, whether it be on patreon.com/kindoffunny, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. You can get the show ad-free. You can get the ability to watch on some of those sites the afternoon podcast lives, we record them. And of course, you get a daily dose of me in a series I call Greg Way each and every weekday. But for right now, you're not using those benefits. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode's brought to you by MeUndies. At some point in our illustrious love lives, we've all asked our partner the same age-old question that guys have probably been asking for thousands of years. Am I big? While MeUndies doesn't know the actual answer to that, or if your partner gave you the actual truth, this Valentine's Day, they can help you look huge with their contoured pouch and ball caddy. Choose from tons of awesome Valentine's Day prints and styles and match undies with your special someone for an extra special holiday treat. From all black classics to fun, expressive prints, MeUndies has a look for everyone. Y'all know I love MeUndies. All my black t-shirts are MeUndies, including this one I'm wearing right now. Try MeUndies out, and if you're not happy with your first pair of undies, it's on MeUndies. This Valentine's Day, good things come in big packages at MeUndies. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/kindoffunny. That's MeUndies.com/kindoffunny for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. This episode's brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is like not closing the door when you use the bathroom. Even if you think you have nothing to hide, why give random creeps a chance to invade your privacy? Internet service providers, including mobile network providers, know every single website you visit. ExpressVPN reroutes 100% of your traffic through secure encrypted servers, so your ISP can't see your browsing history. It hides your IP address, so it's even harder for third parties to track your online life. It's so easy to use. You just fire up the app and one click gets you protection, and it also works on phones, laptops, and more. I use ExpressVPN everywhere because it gives me so much peace of mind that I can explore the internet safely. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/kindafunny. That's expressvpn.com/kindafunny, and you can get an extra 4 months free. expressvpn.com/kindafunny for an extra 4 months free. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled in. In 2025, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And it serves over 5 million people worldwide. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
And we're back. I want to get into the super chats like you can send over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, where Chocolate Fox 9 super chats twice to say, loved the Game of the Year show yesterday. Wanted to throw mine out if possible. So, for the first time ever here on Kinda Funny, this is Chocolate Fox's top 9 of 2024. Number 5, Mario Party Jamboree. Number 4, the Kinitsugami. Number 3, Unicorn Overlord. Number 2, Metaphor. And number 1, Infinite Wealth. A good list.
Yeah.
And I see how you lean with your games. I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And then his follow-up was, thanks for yesterday's show. And Parris is awesome.
Oh,
They love you,
thank
Parris.
you.
Then Michael Berg super chat and said, sending love to Parris. I appreciate how well thought out and genuine your picks, opinions, and insight are.
Giving me way too much credit, but thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of offensive that they say that and leave me out of it. You know what I mean? Where I appreciate how well thought out. Like my picks aren't well thought out. They aren't genuine. This is the most genuine shit you're ever gonna hear. I could have just fucking said Metaphor. Could have just said Metaphor. I could have not taken the internet hate I get for enjoying games that people don't enjoy. Y'all suck. Parris, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Stalker 2.
Ah.
And this is a case where, because remember we kind of did the in-progress review with Mike talking about it, and the main theme was the bugs.
Yeah,
And
if you don't remember pre-release, there was codes went out, but they didn't have a day one patch. The game was buggy. Then day one patch hit, so every playing on day one was like, I'm not seeing anything the reviews are seeing.
And we're like, I can only judge by what I played because it was before the day one patch. That day one patch has released, along with a lot of other patches, and it fixed a ton of the issues that I had with the game. Really made it very playable, and I love the zone. I love this open world that is constantly trying to effing kill you.
Yeah.
Everything is trying to kill you.
And it kills you in like 2 shots. Isn't that the whole thing about Stalker 2?
It's a survival game. You got to be smart with your resources. You know, as you progress and get towards the end, you definitely get more beefy and you're able to handle these encounters a lot better. But I would say the early to middle parts of the game, pretty freaking rough.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Are you still playing it, like, actively? Or?
I have not actively right now. I mean, I completed it and moved on to playing other stuff, which we'll get to. But playing it over the holiday, once all the patches came out, I loved it. Wound up putting about 35 hours into this.
Okay.
And I mean, it's really good. I highly recommend this to anyone. If, you know, it's a survival game. It is not easy. I cannot stress that enough. But they have it in a great place right now to where it's very enjoyable. Like I said, everything is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
In this game.
Yeah, I downloaded this when y'all were talking about it. I never actually cracked it and got into it. Now I feel like the moment's gone because it's one of those that, again, that they had a zeitgeist in that moment, and then I haven't heard much about since then.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it made your list.
Yeah,
number
it's really
5.
good.
We have another top 5 for you over in the YouTube Super Chats. This comes from Mad Rocks. My top 5 of 2024. Number 5, the Were Cleaner. The Were Cleaner? WERE Cleaner? Is that an abbreviation for something? Say it in chat. I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
Number 4, 9 Souls. Number 3, Uni 2. And then number 2, Hades 2. Number 1, Path of Exile. Hell yeah. I admittedly did not have a lot of time to play games in 2024. So good picks there for the ones that I understood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I assume Unicorn Overlord is Uni 2?
Maybe it is.
Maybe
That's what it is.
Werewolf Cleaner. Oh, what's Werewolf Cleaner? I don't know what Werewolf Cleaner is. I gotta look into that. Kevin, show me what Werewolf Cleaner is.
I'm looking for it.
And then people are trying to just decide what Uni is. Under Night in Birth? Uni 2 is a fighting game? Interesting. Anyways, thank you for those picks. What is this? Is Werewolf Cleaner?
We're
No,
cleaner.
We're cleaner.
Oh, damn. I thought I was a
Were-cleaner.
werewolf. I want to be a werewolf
so-
cleaner.
Oh, wait, or is he? He is. Oh,
Hey, he's
shit.
definitely a werewolf. Come on, Greg.
It looks like the fox cleaner.
So wait, it's just he turns into a werewolf and he keeps cleaning?
Hey, you wanted more than that?
I mean, is he,
No, people
I
can't see
mean,
him.
is he killing
Yeah,
people?
see-
Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah.
ABC,
Oh, and he eats him if he
yeah.
sees him.
And he's cleaning.
Kevin, what? I need to know what. Let it keep playing. We're gonna find out what platform this is
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
We
wait,
might
no,
have a
to
new.
the
I
end.
might put this on my 2025 list if it gets some DLC. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Really
no,
piss
the
Barrett
little
off.
Intestines.
Oh, it's a USC game. Wow.
Uh-oh. They got a
Oh, it's a
pervert in
free
the
indie
office.
game, so this is just on PC.
Oh.
Out now on the App Store.
Whoa!
If I don't do it right now, I'll forget. Okay, so there we go. App Store. And then you go this thing, and you go here, and you go.
Hey, I have an emote now, I guess.
Hey!
Damn.
There, I'm getting it. A werewolf janitor.
I'll tell you that.
Take my
Andy
face.
gets quick.
They'll make Andy is quick. Shout out to that Mason Saberhawal. Our first game. Oh, that's another. That was Kyle is a janitor. He's also a werewolf, and now he's got the night shift. A stealth comedy game with surprises around every corner. Now selling plushies. Fuck, I'm in. Thank you very
Plushie?
much. This is the best part of the show when the
Yeah.
audience turns me on to a new game. Thank you, Mad Rocks, for that. I'm very appreciative of that. And that is a great emote. It's kind of terrifying, but it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying.
Radin put it in their top 5. Number 5, Indiana Jones. Number 4, Silent Hill 2 Remake. Number 3, Astrobot. Number 2, Prince of Persia Lost Crown. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I appreciate that. We will move on to find out that my number 5, and I'm not going to even accept the booze on this one. I'm not even going to accept the booze. My number 5 is WWE 2K24.
Boo! I just did it for everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. Ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. I should look up my thing because I can't remember now if this is my number. No, this is my number 3, I think, most played game of the year. We all like to sit here and say, oh, the wrestling games will never be as good as they were on N64. And then you pick if you want, WCW, NWO, Revenge, if you want WrestleMania 2000, if you want No Mercy. I'm done living in the past. I'm done not feeling that I can sit here and openly admit that this is the best wrestling video game of all time. Like, we're talking about what made those N64 games great, right? And it was easy to learn, difficult to master gameplay. To jump, it was the idea of jumping in and going for it. It was the idea of all this stuff. The couch battles we had out there on that TV for this game, WWE 2K24. The idea that we would just start it, and this is when Roger's just learning who these people, wrestlers are, right? We're in there. We're doing triple threats. We're doing ladder matches. We're having a great time. There's all this stuff. It is the pick up and play. It is the sit there and like Roger loves wrestling because he's just learning it. But we're watching Jey Uso's entire entrance as he comes down. Like it was the culmination of what Andy's speech was in our studio launch video of, I wish we had a big TV and we played video games on it. That has not happened for Smash Brothers. That has not happened for college football. That has happened for WWE 2K24 of just leaving controllers out there and people coming together and playing and doing the damn thing. And then you get into it of like from a harder core, whatever you want to call it, a standpoint of me loving wrestling games my entire life, being, a through line through my entire career of reviewing all the SmackDowns and Raws. Like once again, the creation suite, too much for me. Thankfully, the ability to go into the creation library that people have made and download anybody. As soon as somebody, the arenas, the characters, the gear, the signs, to go get what you want to make it there. The fact that even 2K, and I know, again, I'm getting into you can go into the hardcore thing that they're not doing enough to update it, but they were updating it where it's like, oh, they made Jey Uso's entrance more like this, X, Y, and Z. Oh, they added in the cheers for this thing. They're doing they're going through and making all this shit work in a way that I still think this should be a live service platform game where I buy it once and I get characters like Fortnite and do a whole bunch of different things. But this is what I always wanted wrestling games to be when I was playing it. Like, I think the way we all have rose-tinted glasses for those N64 wrestling games, of course, is nostalgia. But as somebody who allegedly has No Mercy on his Steam Deck, and you go back and play that story mode, you're like, oh, wow, this is a lot more bare bones and basic than I was. And of course, the 2K ones are always over the top, hokey as shit. You're back there, you talk to Austin Creed and he yells at you and challenges you. Like, yeah, but that's what wrestling is if they want to continue this story. Do you want they could go the opposite way and really embrace, kill kayfabe, and it is backstage jockeying for politics and trying to put on, there's an argument for that, and I could see that as well, but there's so much to love about WWE 2K24 that I think it's crazy that people still just go, oh, well, it'll never be as good as N64. And I'm like, I think this is so much better.
Nothing you said was wrong, but you're forgetting something very important.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the best wrestling game ever made.
What are you going to go?
It's pro wrestling on the NES,
Oh,
and it always will be. It always will be. It's goddamn Starman. You can't tell me how abusive with the kick. You can never convince me any different.
I know, and that's why it's not even worth talking to you about this. You know what I mean? Good Lord, Parris. God. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Quite simply, it was the first quote unquote big game of the year for 2024 that came out. It came out in January, and it is arguably one of the best 2D Metroidvanias I've ever played. I love the combat in this game. I mean, obviously from a visual standpoint, level design, all that, the boss battles were great, but combat was so fluid, and as you progress towards the end, I mean, you're damn near a goddamn god by the end, and it's just really good. I highly recommend this because I don't think this game has gotten the love that it should have gotten, because for a very long time, this was my game of the year. This was my number 1. I just loved it that much, and I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle throughout the year because it came out so early in the year, but ultimately, this is definitely one of the best games that I played in 2024, and that's why I have it number 4 on my list.
Yeah, chat, help me out. I reviewed another Metroidvania, and I didn't adore it, so I went... Yes! Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Because that's kind of the comparison I have to this. That was attempting to do what Prince of Persia... Well, I'm not even talking to Mike. That was attempting to do what Prince of Persia was doing, but not at this game.
And I'm not the Metroidvania guy, right? But I reviewed a lot of different stuff and played a lot of different stuff this year. And so when I was playing Zao and not feeling it, I went and played Prince of Persia, just the opening hour. And even though I'm not the Metroidvania guy, it was Zao's story that pulled me in. Yeah. I played this holy shit, this is great, and I want to get back to it. Yeah. Still haven't, of course. It's on the Steam Deck. I probably never will. But just that little bit I played, I was impressed. And I was like, I see why Tim loves this so much.
Oh, yeah.
My number 4 is Thank Goodness You're Here. Finally probably getting back on track with games people actually like and not just weird Greg shit. Thank Goodness You're Here. We talked about during the DICE Awards. It popped up a few times in the nominations when Stella and I revealed those last week. But Thank Goodness You're Here does what I find so impressive, and that's make a funny video game. Commit to being a comedy video game. Comedy video games are few and far between because comedy is all about timing. And timing, when you have the sticks, when you are in control, you screw up the timing of so many things, right? Where it just doesn't happen. You just don't see it work. And so for them to commit and to say, we're making a comedy game, we are making a British as fuck comedy game about Barnsworth or whatever. It's and it's just a slap former. You're just going to walk around. You're going to slap little things. That's going to cause the joke to happen. It's going to cause this thing to happen. You're going to progress the plot doing all of this. We talked about this in, I think it was the DICE one, but maybe somewhere else. I remember Barrett or somebody talking about it, but it's the smileys. The rule of 3, where you're coming back and forth over and over to these things, doing something very similar, and then it's giving you a different punchline to build up to the big punchline. I loved this game. I can't believe more people didn't talk about it. Still don't talk about it. Every time I bring it up, somebody's like, I've never seen this before. I'm going to go pick it up. I think it's so well done, so funny. I love the animation. It looks like Adult Swim, and that was the whole thing of the build up to it. When we saw it initially, it was like, oh, well, this looks like a cartoon. How are they going to make it an interesting game? And the fact that they actually did, and even over here, you know, shout out to Nick's Bricks or whatever, like the things they put in there, peens, like the things that I still walk around and quote, so well done.
Yeah.
Appreciate this game so much and urge everybody to go play it.
And I always love these type of visuals. That pulls me right in
100%.
immediately. Like actually very similar to Plucky Squire
Yeah.
in a way.
Paris, what is your number 3?
So my number 3 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Nice.
And for me, this was an interesting one, and I have it pretty high for this reason. I was not into Final Fantasy VII
Really?
back in the day.
Oh, back in the day. Okay.
Because I'm not a turn-based guy. Just
Me neither.
it doesn't grab me. I can watch someone play it, but me playing it never grabbed me. I've always understood the appeal of Final Fantasy VII. I did not play Remake. So I jumped into this effing lost. I don't know these characters. And I like the Barret and the Cloud and Tifa. Like, I don't know all this stuff. But there was such a great story that was unfolding in this that as I progressed through, I was starting to understand the relationships that you're having. Obviously, the open world that's there. Everybody loves Queen's Blood, you know, the card game that you play. But it was that combat of taking turn-based elements and adding it with real-time action.
Yeah.
At the same time, it clicked for me. It worked, and I was having fun with that, with the different spells and the combinations, and using the different characters in those combat situations, and some of the boss encounters that you would have throughout it. I just think, and it was an overall well put game.
Sure.
Sure. I get it. Like, I get it now. Like, funny enough, I was in studio right after we had all played, you know, the review, and Mike was doing Remake, and I'm like, shit, maybe I almost feel like I need to go back and play Remake so I get even more.
It's crazy that you didn't, that you just jumped in.
Well, it's because hey, review, we want to play it.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? But I got enough out of it that I can appreciate it as. And again, from a visual standpoint, from, excuse me, like I said, the combat already, the design of the open world. That was another thing about it. I didn't have open world fatigue with this game.
Yeah.
I thought there was always something to do. There was always some side mission I could go off on, or mess around with a chocobo and ride around or whatever, right? But there was always something in here. And like, even listening to Blessing and all them yesterday, talking about all the relationships and the dating and all that, some of that went over my head because, again, I don't know the history and the legacy of it.
Yeah.
But I got enough of it that I could appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like one of my, I know this is going to sound loaded. It's not, I mean it in a different way. I'm disappointed in myself for Rebirth, because I loved Remake. That was the first Final Fantasy I rolled credits on. I had a great time, yada, yada, yada. But I had cooled so much and forgotten so much that by the time I got here and I looked at this, I was like, and I wasn't on the review, and there was always something else, and I was always like, I need to get the mood. And when Pro dropped and I jumped in and played, I was like, it's just not hitting. It's not making me want to go play it. And that sucks, because I, again, liked Remake so much. I would love to still be connected to it. I just don't feel like I am.
And I will say this, which this camera there, you know, I remember when this came out on Xcast, I made a comment about this not being on Xbox, and some people got grumpy at me. Suck it, because it's coming to Xbox and PC.
Damn, there it is. Also, maybe Switch 2. Number 3 for Greg Miller, Dragon Age the Veilguard. I don't think this surprises longtime listeners. They saw me really connect with this game. It's the first Dragon Age I've loved. The Dragon Ages before just never worked for me. I was a different gamer probably when they were out, because it was a different lifetime ago when there was Dragon Age games coming out. I thought, again, the art style is so good here. I love the story here. I loved making my rook and making these choices and seeing these bonds formed with these people. Like, I think so much of that I'm able to say and do because, of course, I had no baggage to what Dragon Age looked like before, or who characters were before, or all this other stuff. I thought they gave me a great introduction to what was going on with Solus. We were off to the races, and I was having a blast. And I think so much of that comes down to, I think the gameplay is fucking awesome. you know, if you've listened to Greg Miller for years, you've heard me talk about Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning and how great that combat system was and how I would just play it and mute the game and listen to podcasts and have no idea what's going on. Like, this gave me an amazing story, I felt, and great relationships and this awesome gameplay that really was a system I wanted to get lost in and build my rook and go through and do and see what the choices would net out for. I think the game's failing points for me is the fact that there should have been more choices. You have a giant one in the very front. I think there should have been like 2 to 3 more of those to really make it branch. I understand how hard that is. I understand this game didn't start as this game when it was being worked on that way. But for me, when I think of 2024, it's one I'll look back to. I think they do such a great job. I think the ending, powerful isn't the right word because I don't mean emotionally powerful, even though I guess it is. But I think having committed and bought in all the way through, getting to the ending and the little red herrings they do and the deaths or whatever, the changes, the things, that worked so well for me. And as I've said, like, it was so good that I've never played it again. I didn't want to, I was going to platinum it. I had every intention, but I liked how my story ended so much that I was like, I just need to push off here and not come back before credits and go through and do this. Like, I loved Dragon Age of Veilguard, and I understand why other people didn't. People have a problem with the writing. I'm a big old idiot, as you know, so I didn't. Like, I mean, there's scenes where it's like, okay, that's what, but like, even the character I chose and the responses I was choosing and the relationships I went off on, I thought it all worked. But I know that is, Andy and I have talked about it. You start with a different backstory. You start talking to this person. Then why are you saying that? It's a whole bunch of different stuff. But video game Fury in the chat says, Veilguard felt like watching a young adult show. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it was really well animated.
And I like it for that reason. Like, I don't mind that how they did it, but I understand other people wanted a more gritty Dragon Age. That wasn't what I needed. I had a great time with it. It's another one of those RPGs that I adored.
So this is one where I'm with the people that had issues with it. You know, I did the preview and I started playing it and I couldn't continue.
Wow.
It never grabbed me on multiple levels. The gameplay, I think let me back up. I was never into Dragon Age. So this is almost like the Final Fantasy thing where we're talking about where I'm just jumping in and starting to play.
Yeah.
There was nothing there that grabbed me compelled me to want to continue. So kind of just stopped.
Yeah.
Kind of the young adult thing kind of makes sense to me.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. It wasn't what I wanted from a fantasy RPG from a story standpoint. And again, the combat to me, it just didn't do it.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Different strokes.
I
I get it. Like, you know, you got to be in the mood. You got to be the thing. But like, yeah, for me, I mean, just how colorful and beautiful in this world, and the necromancers and this and the environment. Like, I fucking love this game. Parris, what did you love for number 2?
My number 2 is Blatro.
There it is. There it is. You knew it was coming.
I said it yesterday. This game is cocaine. If I knew what cocaine was like, that's what it would be.
Yeah. If you knew.
But I don't. But no. But being serious, I mean, this is another one where I kind of played it throughout the year. I understood the appeal of it. I was like, all right, yeah, this is real cool. You know, I had completed some of the basic decks and things like that. And I got sick over Christmas and had nothing else to do. And I started playing this thing and it sucked me in so freaking much. Like, the addiction is real. Like, hell, even last night, what do you think I did when I left?
Yeah.
I was playing this. It is a roguelike with all these goddamn jokers, and you get into the Celestials and the mega packs and the spectral cards, and you're just creating all these different combinations and these multipliers, and you come up with a strategy of, all right, I'm going to focus on getting straights and flushes as an example, right? That's going to be my play style. So you build your decks around that. You build the jokers and the multipliers around stuff like that. And they'll throw something at you with one of the big boss blinds that will just completely F up everything that you're doing. And you're trying to scramble so that you can just literally survive to get out of that round so you can continue, because you have to get, and I'm blanking on it now, but you have to get the, starts with an A. Why am I blanking on it? No, when you complete a round, you know what I'm talking about, chat. But anyways, I like the chat.
They'll get there. They'll catch up in 1 second. Ante.
Yeah, the ante. Thank you. But because you have to get 9 of those to quote unquote win. Okay. Right. And there's an option where you can continue to play beyond that endlessly, or you can start over with a different deck, up the difficulty, stuff like that. There's all these unlocks that you can get with the various cards that you want. there's just so much shit in this game.
Yeah.
And one dude made it.
Insane.
It is the craziest thing to know that one person made this game and wasn't even thinking it was going to be a big deal. Just like, hey, I want to try and make something. Totally sucked me in.
Yeah.
Completely. So much so that now when some of this DLC stuff's coming out, I'm there day one.
Yeah, Balatro is, a phenomenon this year.
It really is. Yeah. I have this now. I have it on Apple TV, Apple Arcade. I have it on Steam Deck. And I have it on Xbox, and I'm just...
And you're not alone, right?
Yeah.
That's such a common story for people who have a lot.
It's nuts. It is such a... And I'm sure we'll get into it in the next game, too. But this is what video games is all about. Not everything has to be this $300 million blockbuster. 1,000 people were making it. One dude made this on whatever his budget was. I'm sure it was tiny.
Yeah.
But anybody that plays this, you just get sucked in.
Yeah. It's been awesome to see people continuously fall in love with it and not be able to stop playing it. And like you said, I think yesterday, right, of like the people who talk shit when it gets nominated and then they try it, they're like, oh, I get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
My number 2, I did my best, everyone. I'm sorry, everyone in the chat yesterday. My number 2 is Helldivers 2. It was like watching a car accident in slow motion yesterday as Game of the Year was going on. And as we got deeper and deeper and deeper into the list, the chat starting a little swell, a little hubbub, a little buzz of like, oh, it's going to be Helldivers 2. Oh my God, Helldivers 2 is going to be next. Oh my God, is Helldivers 2 tied for number 1? I was like, are you fucking crazy? I'm the only person at Kind of Funny who's obsessed with Gary is a part-timer. Of the core people, the people who voted yesterday, I'm the only person who like is obsessed or was obsessed or whatever you want to say with Helldivers 2. And with good reason. This is another game that took the world by storm this year. And, I've talked about it to death in so many shows, but like as somebody who loved Helldivers 1 so much on PlayStation, playing it on the plane, sitting there with my Vita, the ability to do the cross-play, cross-save, like the dream realized of what the Vita was meant to be, right? To wait 9 years for a Helldivers 2 and look at it, it's like, oh, it's a new perspective. Okay, it's just more shooting. Okay, where are we at in 2024 for another live servicey multiplayer PlayStation exclusive / PC, whatever? Shoot, like, is this going to go? And like, for this game to come out and find such a new audience, to blow the doors off it, be so successful. Again, you can point at many missteps this year from PlayStation side, from Arrowhead side, but to be real, just have this incredible post-launch journey of war bonds and DLC and this giant expansion they drop at the Game Awards. Like, Helldivers is such a great game, and you hinted at it, and I think you might have been talking about Astrobot, but I would use it here. What a great reminder of what video games are all about. Jump in with your friends. You are all going to die a bunch. It is part of the charm, the fun. You're getting killed by these bugs. The fact that people are taking it, and again, it's a games as a service, it's a live service product, and that continues out onto Twitter, onto Blue Sky, whatever, where you're seeing people tweet about what's happening on Super Earth, and everyone basically role-playing online of like, oh, for democracy, you know what I mean? Kill the bugs, yeah, ignoring the genocide there. Like, so fucking good. So, and I mean, just Arrowhead knocked it out of the park with the game, but like then just have this reception and have this thing, like those streams, like, I'm just not that guy. The games I play, as on this list, are not that guy. Those games for Kind of Funny. When this dropped and we were doing the 5-hour streams every day, we're canceling podcasts so I can stay in there longer and play with Joey and Mike and everything else. Like, what a dream come true for me. Like, that's what everybody thinks the job is playing games all the time. And like for 1, 2, 3 weeks, it was, and we're getting post kid into it. We're having a great time. Like, I loved this game. I love this game so much. The return to it I've had recently during break for the newest DLC has been so much fun. I can't wait for more. It'll be interesting to see if they drop whatever they drop for expansions this year, if that is enough to get it onto my list and go there. But I adored Helldivers 2, and it broke my heart yesterday watching everyone get their hopes up, being like, no, oh my God, how many of you are brand new here? Like, Mike, it would be my closest compatriot, and he doesn't like PvE. So he does not give a shit about Helldivers. Like, fuck.
I mean, I think I missed my window in this. I forget what was out at the time, but there was other stuff I was playing.
It was February, right? So it was right around Final
so I was
Fantasy.
probably Final Fantasy. So maybe I got sucked into that or something, and I missed that initial window to jump in and play. but this is totally a game I would love, right?
My one thing I would tell you, it is not too late.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it is
yeah.
not
I
too
just,
late.
I just need
You
to
could
jump in.
easily say, hey, you want to play tonight? Me and Gary would be there.
Yeah.
And Gary, of course, like,
yeah, Gary's
I
maniac.
love it, and I'm like 70 hours in. Gary, of course, has more than 1,000 hours in. He's got nothing. He'll run just to do it. He every night, anytime I just turn on my Steam Deck, I see that Gary Witter is playing Helldivers.
Yeah.
He's just running with randos. He's having a good time.
I hit up Gary this weekend. I was like, hey, friend of mine's never played this game. Do you want to help Sherpa us? And he was the nicest, most helpful person ever.
Yeah.
Very much unlike Gary.
Yeah, he's usually a fucking cock, you know? You know what I mean, Nick? Yeah, he knows what I mean over there. It is time to reveal our number one picks. And they're the same game. So, Parris, take it away.
I mean, it's Astrobot.
Yeah.
I've been pretty vocal since it came out in September about how much I've loved this game. And at first was kind of tongue-in-cheek going Astrobot Game of the Year. But then I started to realize, oh, wait, no. This is Game of the Year. This is my favorite game that I've played this year.
Yeah.
For what we're just talking about, it is just such a video-ass video game that I love. I'm a platforming junkie. Yes, this is taking elements from 3D Mario. I mean, they obviously fully admitted it themselves during the Game Awards, and that's fine. But they did it at such a high quality level. I mean, what Team Asobi was able to do with this, I just freaking loved it. It obviously is celebrating 30 years of PlayStation at the same time. You know, some of these levels that you'll go into, and we talked about it before, the Uncharted level, like that God of War level. The first time I went to that, I was like, I am so effing in on this. I loved it. But then it was when you get to those challenge levels. And I realized that, oh, there is a difficulty scale here. Now I have to really lock in and focus to try and complete this, and the sense of satisfaction that you would get when you would complete these. And then obviously the end level, getting past all that, is just, it does it all right. Not to mention you feel compelled to want to get every puzzle piece. You want to get every Astrobot on the level. You want to 100% platinum this game.
100%.
I freaking love it. And not to mention, they've continued to support it, you know, since it's come out. You know, even yesterday, we're talking about the Christmas level and all that coming out. We know they're going to continue to support it as we go here into 2025. Again, my favorite game of 2024. I loved it. And I will say to anybody, again, that disagrees, which is fine because we all don't love the same things, play it. Just play it. If you actually play it and invest some time into this game and you still feel the same way, totally valid. But I think a lot of people that have criticisms about it have just simply not played Astrobot. It was that good.
Yeah. I mean, I echo everything you said and everything we said yesterday, and the fact that, like, it is just a pure gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it is just pure video games. Like, I feel like it's the definition of what video games are, of just like, you get in, you jump in, you forget your worries, you're playing this game, and then your worries become, how can I survive this level or do this quicker or whatever. But it's like, it is that idea of like, wow, what a great distillment of why I love video games.
Yeah.
Like, it is a perfect video game, and I don't use that often. I think it is a perfect video game. Like, I have no critiques, no notes. Like, this is so much fun to play. It is so ingenious. It is so inventive. It is so cute. It is so colorful. The soundtrack is awesome.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The controller rumbles are impressive. Like, it's a perfect video game. And I think that, again, this is a little bit of what I was talking about of trying to decide, like, an IGN game of the year, right? It just happens to be the same thing of just like, it's the best experience I had in games this year. And I didn't want it to end. And I never want it to end. And I want more from it. And I'm so happy I got what I got out of it. And I would recommend it to anyone to go off and do stuff. Like, it's insane. Astrobot's incredible.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
well deserving of our game of the year, both for Kind of Funny and Parris and Greg.
Yes. And a lot of other places too.
Yep. I got a few super chats to close us out before we watch Roger's movie game, special movie game. Jeff Bull Jr. super chats and says, "What should I get for lunch?" I say chicken wings. What do you think?
Yeah, I love a good chicken wing.
Demon Hacker says, when WWE 2K25 comes out, we're going to need a viewer match. We could look into that for you for a stream. I would love that. Bam 25 50 19 super chats and says, my top 5 are number 5, Tekken 8. Number 4, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Number 3, Marvel Rivals. Number 2, Stellar Blade. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Thanks for the amazing content, everyone. We are happy to be there for you, Bam. And great picks. I know that it's one of those What a fucking year for a video game.
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals didn't make our list. Sparking Zero didn't make our list, or neither did Stellar Blade. But these are all games that got talked about on the show and how much people loved them.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, before I forget, and I saw it in the chat because it reminded me, I wanted to bring this up. So Dungeons of Hindenburg is a game that didn't make my top 10, but almost did.
Yeah.
And I think it deserves a lot more love than it's getting because it was a fantastic, the social aspects of it, the dungeon crawling things about it. I loved it.
I've talked about it a lot on these shows. If you've missed them before, it was a game I played on vacation, which was great because the whole concept of the game is you are on vacation.
Yeah.
And your vacation is going to dungeons and beating these monsters and meeting people. And I was like, I loved that game. Love Dungeons of Hindenburg. Yeah, and it was a similar thing where I think if I hadn't played Caravan Sandwich this time around, I think this would have taken that place probably, or that end of the top 10 list out there. But really, really loved this game and think people didn't give it a shot. It is Game Pass. You can get it. Obviously.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
The best deal in gaming.
And and Animal Well came in the top 10. I was pleasantly surprised because again, I only started playing it a few weeks ago, so I haven't completed it. But yeah, everything that Roger was talking about, I love that game. I can't wait to dive into it more. Keep playing.
Shane Bailey super chats and says, Astrobot is easily the greatest game of 2024 and has made its way onto my top 5 of all time. An absolute masterpiece and a fun platinum. A great platinum. I really, really enjoy it. Hats off to Team Asobi. They crushed that.
Absolutely.
And then our final super chat for this episode of the Kinda Funny Gamescast comes from Trevor, who says, as someone that didn't grow up with Nintendo, after playing Astrobot, I wished I did. Best way to describe it is pure joy. I agree with Parris. The God of War level is one of my favorite levels / sections of any game. Here. Well done.
Yep.
Parris, well done for hanging out with us these first 2 days of the week.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said at the top, I need to be here more.
You're always welcome. You know that. Just like you're always welcome to watch us. Of course, we're Kinda Funny, and each and every weekday we have a number of live talk shows for your viewing and listening pleasure. Of course, you can catch us on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe. But if you love what we do, the best way to support us is with the Kinda Funny membership. Pick it up on patreon.com/kindafunny, YouTube, or Apple or Spotify. Of course, get all of our shows ad-free, the ability to watch the afternoon podcast on select platforms, and of course, get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, and a series we call Greg Way. Game of the year for Kinda Funny is far from done. Like I said, the big top 10 is up from yesterday, but the rest of the week you will be getting everybody coming in to reveal their top 10 so you can see how the votes actually went down. However, tomorrow's a very special day. Remember, we are beginning the programming a little bit later. 11:30, you get Kinda Funny Games Daily, then you get a stream, and then at 4 p.m. Pacific time, I sit down with Shuhei Yoshida to talk about his 31 years of PlayStation now that they're done. Who does he hate? I will find out, or I will die trying, everybody. For now, Roger has a special movie game for everyone to play. So until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Man.